I got sick. I went from a size 28, I think, to 13 to 14.
Sure.
Yes. My entire life was at the hospital. I've been taking my antibiotics. They're not working. Why are you guys not trying something else? And she's like, no, I'm not talking about your antibiotics. I'm talking about your ARVs.
Sure.
I didn't know I was HIV positive. I had a viral load. So a viral load is the amount of viruses. I had over 1 million, which meant I was fully blown. I had AIDS. I don't care if I die, but if I'm going to die, I'm going to die at home. I was abstaining from sex. So I was just like, okay, there's no way it could have, like, how could have I contracted the virus?
Sanbonani, Dumelang, hola, and welcome to yet another episode of I Have Been Through the Most podcast with myself, Innocent, and of course my wonderful twin sister, Millicent.
We are so honored that you've made time to join us today. Make sure that you hit that like, subscribe button and comment down below so that we know that you are here with us. Also, let us know where you're watching from. I think it's so exciting that we have like international viewers. I always love seeing, that you're from Botswana, Australia, whatever. I'm just
London.
like hello. And we love that the show is not just for entertainment, and we know that you guys absolutely love the inspirational part of the show, that it's so encouraging, it's so uplifting and all these positive things. And
Absolutely.
and every single week we come back and we make sure that we deliver. And of course we do it because of our amazing guests. I think we really need to give credit, for all our amazing guests who are brave enough to sit on the hot seat
and share their story. And of course, help us grow the channel by simply subscribing right here on YouTube. It's official. We are on a road to 300K subscribers.
Yes.
Let me take this chance to welcome all our new subbies. Welcome to the family.
Yay.
It's so good to have you. Make sure that you are part of the family. If you have not subscribed, do it right now. It's a target for all of our 300K subscribers on YouTube. We can do it. Also, please do follow us on our different social media platforms. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We are everywhere. All the content is exclusively produced for you. Let's get into our story.
Yes, we have a beautiful lady today. I mean, what a wow. She walked in and me and Ina was like, wow. Her name is Nokhuthula and she is here to share her story. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Nokhuthula. I grew up in Tembisa. I had a normal background, like a normal child that grows up in Tembisa. School, work, homework, go out, play with my friends. I live with my mom and my little brother and an aunt and my aunt's older son. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just like the two of you siblings?
Yes, just the two of us.
Okay. So how's your upbringing? How do you remember yourself as a child? What did you love doing? What did you enjoy the most?
I was very glamorous, a diva, they used to call me. Yeah, I liked to perform, like performing arts, dramatic arts.
Yeah.
Loved singing. I had a very wild and happy personality. I was a very big baby, but had like the most intriguous confidence you could ever think of. Yeah.
I really love that, and I think that speaks to the story that you're gonna share, today. And I think for me, it's always very important to realize how people grew up, because we always refer back to our little self, because you're so innocent and you're so free spirited, And the more you grow, and the more you face life, you're like, hey, growing up is something else. Can you take us through your story and where your journey began?
Okay, so back to 2017, 2018, I got sick. I think I was during my grade 11. Yes. I had flu-like symptoms. I was coughing, fever. So I just went to a local clinic, got medication for a fever, was told to stay at home for like a couple of days just so I could recover. And then after that, I wasn't really getting better. So my mom started getting concerned, and then they decided I should go to like a general hospital. So I first went to Charlotte Maxeke in Johannesburg. I got admitted for like a very long time. At first they thought I had pneumonia, and then they later said I had lung infection. So like I think my left lung was not complete. I was struggling to breathe. I couldn't keep food down. I started getting spots all over my body, losing weight, like extremely losing weight. I went from a size 28, I think, to 13 to 14.
Sure.
Yes. I could not walk. Like I could not walk from like one point to another point without coughing until I can't breathe. So this one time I was at the hospital. they had like specialists fly down to come check me and see what's going on, because like they couldn't really pinpoint what the problem
What was wrong
was.
with you?
Yes. And then after the specialists were done, some random doctor, she was female, she came to me and she was like, I don't understand why you're not taking your medication. She seemed very frustrated, and I was also very frustrated because, number one, I was losing time off of school. My entire life was at the hospital, you know.
And you're trying to get to matric.
I
You're
am.
in grade 11. Like, can we just get this done? Because I need to finish school.
No, definitely I was. So I was very frustrated, and I think there was like a back and forth because I was just like, I don't understand what you mean. I've been taking my antibiotics. They're not working. Why are you guys not trying something else? And then she's like, no, I'm not talking about your antibiotics. I'm talking about your ARVs. And I think like my face, that's when she realized that I didn't know I was HIV positive.
Sure.
So then, because I was also a minor at that time, they asked me what time my mom was coming in, and I told them during visiting hours, and then she was like, okay, I'll come back then. But obviously I was very confused because I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm 17, I definitely know what ARVs
Yes,
are.
I was about to say you're old enough to understand what ARVs are and why
Exactly.
people take ARVs. And now you're probably wondering to yourself, like, do I have HIV?
That was my problem also. And I think another thing for me was I was abstaining from sex. So I was just like, okay, there's no way it could have, like, how could have I contracted the virus? So when later my mom came, the doctor came, and then they told me that I was HIV positive, and then that's when my mom told the doctor that I was actually born with. She had also contracted the virus from my dad. So I was the only sibling that had like the virus. My older late brother didn't contract the virus. My younger brother doesn't have the virus. I'm the only sibling that contracted the virus.
Did she not know that you had contracted the virus? Did she assume because the firstborn didn't have it, you probably would not be infected by it?
She knew. No, she
Okay.
was well aware. So that just created a very weird atmosphere for my mom and I, because I was an only child for such a long time, and my mom was my best friend. She was my everything. My literally, like, I did not have a lot of friends. So I was very confused why she didn't tell me. Very angry. I had a lot of negative emotions. There was a time when I wanted time apart from her because I could not even look at her, because I had to like get to the point where now everyone can see what's going on. You know, you could have just taken care of it at a very early stage, and I'd have a normal life.
Absolutely.
And now everyone had an opinion on my life because, no, try this, no, do that.
Okay.
What's actually wrong with you? Also, I grew up in Tembisa, so it's a very different environment. Everyone has something to say. So that became a very, very weird environment for my mom and I.
Especially because it was at that stage of her being that sick, you know, being critical. Now you're finding out, because for me, it's one thing to want to protect your child and not tell them, maybe because of the stigma that's attached to it, but then at least take care of them medically. Make sure they're
Yes.
taking the right treatment, or, you know, however you want to go around it, make sure there's a way that you are covering them and protecting them. So with her, she didn't tell you, but she also did not protect you from it as well. Why do you think that was? Is it because I don't know.
I think she was in denial for the most of it. Like I said, my father was the carrier of the virus, and she was a housewife, you know, type thing. So the virus was brought into the house, and she had a hard time accepting the fact that, yes, she was already in that situation, but also her daughter, you know. And we went for therapy. At first, I didn't want to take my medication. I was just done. I remember the last time I was at Soweto Baragwanath Hospital. I came from the concerts with Beyoncé and them, and then I collapsed there. They had to get me like
At
with
the show?
Yes,
Sure.
I collapsed at the show because I was very, very, very sick. Like I could feel myself that day, because like walking into the concert was such a process. And I could feel that I was not feeling very well, but I was like, you know what? I want to be here. I want to have fun. So I did that, and then I collapsed, and then I woke up at the hospital. I was in ICU, like it was bad.
Jeez, can you imagine? You know how full that show was?
Yeah.
Sure. Do
Yeah.
you know what happened? Who took you to hospital? Who called the ambulance?
So I was there with my best friend and her mom. She was the one that was like, no, she's taking us out. We need to have some girl time. They had like a chopper, like a come take me, yeah, because it was like really, really like an emergency. And like you're mentioning, the show was like really packed.
Yes.
So there was like no time for like a proper ambulance, I'm guessing, to come.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, I went to Soweto Baragwanath Hospital. I woke up in the hospital. The last thing I remember was being at the show.
Girl, did you manage to see Beyonce at
I
least?
did not. I did not.
Because at least they were going to say, oh, she saw Beyonce. She was that drunk. But you didn't even get to see
Nothing.
Beyonce or Jay-Z. So it's just
Nothing.
like, you fainted because of your own reasons.
Yes. So when I was at Soweto Baragwanath Hospital, I remember I had like a very big fights with the head nurse there, and I was like to her, I'm going home today. I don't care if I die, but if I'm going to die, I'm going to die at home. I'm done with hospitals. I'm done with medication. I'm done with cancer. I don't want to do anything. And I remember she told me, she was like, I would allow you to go home, but I'm going to tell you this. You're not going to get to the gate. You are not going to make it to the gates. And I was like, you know what, that's fine. Then let it be. And I think the one thing that broke me that day was my mom is not a very like, she doesn't know how to show her feelings, you know, and
too expressive.
Yes. So seeing her cry that day, and she couldn't even say anything because I understand how she was feeling. She felt very guilty because I'm in this situation technically because of her, you know, and you can't now be like, no, take your medication when you could have done that earlier before, you know. But seeing her cry like that, and she couldn't even like be strict or whatever because, like I'm saying, I'm in the situation because of you. It broke my heart. I grew up around my cousins, them coming to see me and them telling me like losing you is far more worse than what we're seeing right now. We can't live a life without you, you know. And I remember I had a conversation with one of my cousins, and I was like, she was like to me, if you're not gonna do it for yourself, do it for us. If not for your mom, do it for your little brother, you know. And I think also the one thing that broke me was I had episodes where I would just like randomly pass out. So there's a time when I was at home with my little brother in the kitchen and I passed out with him in the kitchen. And till this day, he doesn't forget that. Like every once in a while, he'll just be like, do you remember one time you collapsed in the kitchen? And I'm like, oh, okay. So it really did affect you.
Why were you collapsing? I mean, obviously because it's something that kept occurring, right? So is it one of the symptoms that maybe you experienced? Like why collapse? Like what is it that you maybe didn't have in your body, or what? Like what was happening?
I think my immune system.
Okay.
Because I had lost very, very like lots of weight and I couldn't eat. So, and what I would do, like the only thing that wouldn't give me energy was if I drank grandpa. Although like my family didn't know. So I would like have like grandpa maybe like 3 times a day. Just so I could look, like I could feel alive. If people are coming to see me, I'm like, oh, I'm able to have a conversation. So I think also that played like a really huge factor because grandpa's really not like the greatest thing to take.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also addictive.
It is addictive. So yeah, that's it. And then I decided to start my NPO, Nokhuthula Foundation, to help people that are going through like what I went through. Because also I feel like when I went to counseling, especially in government hospitals, it's very vague. You know, you get there and they're like, no, you're going to be okay. Just take your medication every day. Don't have unprotected sex. Don't drink. Don't do whatever. But also, it's like a 30-plus-year-old telling me that I'm 18. We don't relate. We don't live in the same generation, you know. I'm going to want to do things. I'm going to want to have kids. I want to get married. How do I go about that? You know, and I felt like it was very vague for me because I'm like, yes, I understand you're trying to protect me, but I feel like the protecting is what got me to this point. I want you to be honest with me. Tell me HIV is a thing. People are going to talk about it. People always have something to say. You're going to go through struggles, but you're going to have to be a boss babe and keep going.
And I think it's not enough because you find out and then you go through the counseling, which I think is not enough because once you leave the hospitals that you're on your own, right? It's just, it needs to be like a continuous thing.
Yes.
It needs to be, you know, it needs to be
an ongoing
process because just that one time you counseling, yes, you hear it, but you're still going through your own trauma. You're still in shock. Then when reality hits and when you see real life situation, when you now have to have this conversation with friends, with family, when relationships are involved, when like you're saying that one day you want to have kids, every time something happens in your life, it brings back that, and now you must face it with new knowledge that you probably don't even know how to emotionally, be there. So for me, I just want to go back a little bit with regards to the conversation that you had with your mom. I like the fact that you did go to therapy with her, but what was the conversation like? Because you seem to have found out with the doctor present, with your mom present, and then you are faced with your mom after that.
Yes.
What conversation did you have with her?
I think my biggest question to her was why. Like, I get you trying to protect me. And I think one person, I've always had real conversations with my mom in a sense that you can only protect me so far, and like I'm saying, we had a very, very close relationship and we talk about literally everything. So I never understood, why couldn't we have this conversation? Ease me into the conversation. Maybe first educate me about HIV and AIDS if you think I'm not well educated, and then break it down to me and say, this is what happened.
Yes.
I'm here, you're here, and this is what we need to do.
Okay. Did you know your mom has HIV?
I didn't know.
Was she taking ARVs?
She was.
Yo.
Yeah. So,
But did she tell you how long she was going to withhold that information from you? Like, did she say, maybe I was going to tell you maybe when you're 21 or tell you when you're 30? Like, what does she say? When was the plan? Because eventually you were going to find out. How was she planning to break the news to you?
I don't think she had a plan. I think it was in the moment type thing. Like, I'll deal with it as it comes. I'll cross the bridge when it gets there. Yeah.
Yo.
So it was very tough for me. And I think I appreciate the fact that my family also didn't put me under pressure to forgive my mom. They allowed me to feel what I have to feel, go through the emotions, and when I am ready, then process everything. And
Absolutely.
then,
Because you can't hide it, Millie, and want to deal with it, and never want to deal with it. You have to deal with the
some point.
You have to get over it. You have to express your, I guess, being upset or your anger. However,
Emotions,
your
yeah.
emotions have to be expressed somehow,
Yes.
and that's part of a healing journey. I think for me, what I also want to acknowledge is the fact that all of us might be looking at her and thinking, she's so irresponsible and nobody really understands psychologically what she had to deal with.
Yeah.
And maybe the in denial or maybe the refusal of her child being infected, she just didn't want to accept that.
Yes.
Nobody knows what was going on, because your child is your child. You love your child. You want the
Yeah.
best for your child. So I guess there's an emotional element that we will never understand.
Yes.
And so I don't want to judge her, but I do think that as parents, we older, you should know better, and so you should do better.
Yeah.
Basically, to whom much is given, much is expected. And so she should have been more responsible. And also, if you cannot handle certain things, get help.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be able to know everything.
Yeah.
It's okay to get help. And this is obviously motivation to anyone else out there. Get help, get advice, get counsel. Moving forward from that experience, how was that for you and your mom? How did you overcome that hurdle?
I think the biggest thing that I struggled with was going back to school the following year. School children can be very mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced a lot of bullying. And I'm just a person that
Because of?
I had lost weight.
Okay.
So I was visibly sick, So people had things to say, like I'm saying. And I wasn't a very expressive person to be like, maybe go to the principal and be like, I'm going through this. So I just kept to myself and the few people that were in my corner. And just my whole world changing, because everything changed after finding out I was HIV positive. My lifestyle, the things that I like, getting back to my normal self, and I think it's still an ongoing journey, because sometimes I get triggers and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this type of way. But I think now I'm in a very good space, like with my mom, emotionally we're okay. And that's why I decided to start the foundation. It's called Nokhuthula Foundation. My name means peace. Yes.
Your name has a message.
Yes, it means peace. And I think that's the only thing I want to that's the only message I'm trying to convey. Like, once you have peace within yourself, you are able to spread it to everyone else.
That's it.
And I help where I can, when I can, and also just to educate people, especially our parents, the older generation, because it's very hard for them to accept HIV and AIDS. And we have a lot of cases with young people that are going through what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And are probably still going to be going through that. And I think once we start having conversations and we're comfortable enough to have a conversation about HIV and AIDS, because anyone can come up to you and say, I have cancer. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But if I say I have HIV,
That's
everyone is just like
stigma.
raising their eyebrows. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a big thing. You know, so I want people to be comfortable to have a conversation. HIV is there. We're not going to deny it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you like accept, like, because you right now you're in a good place where you like, we must talk about this, we must accept it, and it must be normalized. So you are in school, right? And obviously your age mates don't know that. Your friends
Peers.
don't know that. Yes, your peers don't know that. When did you get to a point where the people around you, or you were comfortable enough to tell the people around you, because 17 is still young.
Yeah.
18 is still young. Yes, you're almost an adult, but for you to tell your 18-year-old or 17-year-old friends that I'm HIV positive literally just changes everything, you know? So when did you get to a place where you were comfortable enough to share and
what that did to her.
and what that did to you?
I've met Mandisa Gianni. She used to come to our school. Yes.
Sissy Mandisa, she used to be my neighbor.
Yes, she does a lot of very
Yeah.
beautiful work, NGO work as well.
Yes, so she used to come to my school because I was in the dramatic arts field in high school, and we would have conversations, you know. So she was sharing her story, and then I told her about my story, and I think she played a very huge role in my life. I don't think she knows this, but she really did. She really eased me into opening up about my status. Especially like to my closest people, like my family, my friends, because I also had a problem when, like, every time we have maybe a family gathering and I have to take my medication, it would be like a hush situation, like, come take your medication, you know? And sometimes I'm just like really chilling with my cousins and my mom is calling me and my cousin's like, why do you always have to go to your mom at 9 o'clock? Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You know, like it's every day at 9,
Yeah.
girl. So eventually I didn't ask for my mom's permission. We had like a safe space type thing in my dramatic arts class. And I was like, you know what? I'm feeling very confident today. Let me do this. We were sharing things that we were struggling about emotionally. So I told my class, they were the first people I actually told.
The entire class.
Yeah, the entire class.
Wow.
Yeah, I shared my story and very, very supportful. And I think from that,
power moment.
yeah,
girl.
yeah, I was just like, okay, I can do
feel free?
this. I did.
Liberated.
Liberated, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And then from there was my family. I told my mom, though, I was like, I personally, I can't do this. And I think of, like, with everything that has happened, I've never asked you for anything. I'm asking you to allow me to be open. And then she was like, okay, if you feel like you're ready to have that conversation, then let's have the conversation.
You are so brave.
Wow.
I don't think people realize how much it takes to share a story like this. You know, we all go through our storms and we all go through our struggles, you know, but to be able to sit and share your story, I mean, you don't owe anyone, you know, an explanation of what you're going through or for whatever reason, but I think it does something to you. You know, the minute you share, it sets you free.
Yes.
You know, but what I love about it the most is that it sets so many other
Others
people
free.
free.
as
Yeah.
well.
You know, you know that quote that says, when you let your light shine, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly what sharing your story does. It becomes from my story and it empowers everyone else and sets them free. So this might just be your story, but so many other young people have gone through what you are going through and they're still going to go through what you have gone through, because she's not the first, she's not the last. It's still going to be an ongoing process, but you know what? You are making the process easier for someone else. And when they can see the healing process is possible with you, they will know that the healing process is possible for them too.
True. Definitely.
So what are you busy with now? Tell us about your NGO. How's it going? What's the plan going forward as we wrap it up?
So I do like different drives depending on whatever project that we're working on. But I mostly deal with children living with HIV and AIDS, whether it's like different orphanages, we give food parcels. The last drive we had a sandwich drive for the homeless people living in the streets of Johannesburg. We have soup drives, but our biggest thing that we have coming up this year is our actual official launch, which we have been trying to plan But we had COVID, and then we're just steady coming into place now. Yeah.
And does your NGO then also open up like to conversation? So not just giving food parcels and everything. Is there like an opportunity to sit, have this conversation? Because I like education and information is
A privilege.
is the key here. You know,
Yes.
the more people are informed, the less we are more, what's this word? The more
Less ignorant.
yes, less ignorant, right? And the more knowledge we have, the more power we have.
And the more we can make informed decisions.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we can be compassionate enough. We can, because it's informed. So do you then open it up for those kind of sessions?
Yes, I do. I work with a few local clinics in Tembisa.
Okay.
I used to do like drives at schools where I would have the conversation, but because of COVID, I had to stop. But we're gonna get back on that, just to have conversations, especially like in high schools, for young people, because we do live a fast life, and I think it's
very
important to be educated about these things and to know what you're setting yourself for. And like you're saying, the more education, the more people are gonna ease up into the conversation. Yeah.
Last question for me. Let's talk about relationships. You know, how has that process been? You know, you're a beautiful lady. You know, at what point do you have the conversations? I mean, I'm so curious. You know, because it's just like, do you like someone said, okay, listen, you know, this is the story. How do you go about that?
The earlier the better for me, because I'm very public about my relationship, my status. Sorry. So you're gonna find out either way. And I want to give my partner the choice for them to decide whether they want to stay or not. Because like I'm saying, HIV is a big thing. There are a lot of things to consider. And I can't really feel a type of way if you feel like you can't be with me because of that, because there are a lot of things to consider.
Have you had guys who had
Not really. It's just,
An issue.
no,
or a problem,
it's just
nothing.
partners
Okay.
sometimes are a bit like, I want to go to your doctor's appointment with you. And I don't need that. I feel like I'm a grown woman. I can do it
okay.
myself.
Like,
You
don't
know?
you treat me as a case study now, okay?
no. If I need you, I'll tell you. But I've never had like any weird partner or anything of that sort. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a last question. This is the really last one. So in terms of your health, is everything fine now? Because obviously how you found out this whole deal is because your health took a turn. So now how is it going? You know, are you fine now that you're taking treatment, or like how's the journey been?
So 2017, I had a viral load. So a viral load is the amount of viruses. I had over 1 million, which meant I was fully blown. I had AIDS. And then my CD4 counts, which is like the white blood cells, I think, that fight off the virus, were like 0.3 or something like that. And
Sure.
last year was my 5th year anniversary, and I'm undetectable. So a standard blood test cannot detect any viruses in my body.
Wow.
What a way
What
to
a
close
blessing.
off the show.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
That's amazing news.
Yes.
So you're definitely like doing something very right. You've put in the work and the effort, because you know what, like our health is our wealth, and you need to really just be intentional about that. And you're intentional about that. This is why you're able to inspire people. So I
Yes.
love that for you.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank you.
Sure, I think it's always inspirational to end the show on such a high note.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly what we needed to hear. And I hope that you have been touched, inspired by the story, because it is so real. And it's something that we cannot shy away from. It's something that happens each and every day to most of us. But we are so grateful that we can have stories like this that can really transform the mind and give you the hope that you need to carry on in your personal journey.
Absolutely. And information is power. Can we just continue educating ourselves? Really get rid of, a stigma and judgment, let's educate ourselves, be more compassionate, be kind to one another, listen to each other's stories. There's always a human being behind
Oh, yes.
a story, behind everything. We're all just humans, just juggling life. Let's remember to be kind to each other and just show love all around. And we appreciate you for watching. We appreciate you, Nokhuthula, for coming onto the show and sharing your story. Guys, please show her some love in the comment section. She is doing the most. Also, if you want us to get involved with your NGO, just hit us up. You've got our numbers. We're all about giving back and doing all that. Centtwinz love all the way.
That's what time it is. Guys, thank you so much for watching. From myself, Innocent.
And myself, Millicent, and our awesome guest, Nokhuthula, and of course, the team that makes it possible, Centtwinz Productions.
I don't know why there are so many behind the scenes today, but anyway.
Say hi, guys.
Shout out to the team. Thank you at home. Until next time, it's bye for now.